You're welcome to video tutorial Easter Bunny. Using this photo reference, we are going to create very interesting, illustrative, fantastic bunny portrait. Depends what paper, what color combination you're going to use. You will create your own portrait. So let's start. We will need mop brush. We will need calligraphy brush to create eyelashes and whiskers. We will need straw, cocktail straw, to create those splashes around ears and around the body. We will need white gouache or bleed-proof white or Copic white. Will work too to create reflection on the eyes. And transferring template to your watercolor paper, attaching watercolor paper to the board with tape. Don't forget to protect your table because we're going to create mess. And starting using mop brush, cover starting with ears, the top. I specifically tint a little bit the water which I am covering the ears, so you can see what I'm doing. You no need to do it. You just cover it with clean water. Create quite significant amount, because if you think we need to use straw to blow and create the splashes around, so cover carefully all area of the ears. You see how much water I have? I specifically show you how it's moving freely. So it's supposed to be like that. Now, using tiny brush, or you can use any brush, infuse any amount of colors, any colors inside of these puddles. The color combination, it is up to you, whatever you want. I'm using Dr. Martens liquid watercolor that create very interesting color combination. It mixes very well and it's very flawless mixing. But if you're going to use normal watercolor, it will mix very beautifully too. If you use dry watercolor, it will be mixing beautifully too. Doesn't matter what you're using, just play with that and try to not use more than 3-4 colors, and just enjoy the process. Have fun. If you think the water running too freely, you need to use napkin and clean. Make sure that it's not spreading on the table, and continue playing with it. It's fun. And continue spreading the existing pigment down to the nose area and to the chin, adding pigment as you go. You can use the same technique as you did before. You can pre-wet and infuse pigment after, or you can do as I'm doing now, spreading it and painting as you go, avoiding the area where the eyes and area around the eyes. Also, sometimes you can just splash a few dots. If you think it's too much, you always have napkin in your hand and just lift a little bit. You can use, if you have sea sponge or you have clean kitchen sponge, you can use it too. If you know how to work with salt effect, you can work now too. That is absolutely free project. Why not? It's quite fascinating and fun. And where the neck, use a little bit darker color. I'm going to use probably purplish tone there. And the chin, on this area, I'm going to use a little bit more purplish tone because it's shadow. Maybe a little bit more indigo, reddish tone. And don't forget, you still can play with cocktail straw to create funny effects. Another interesting effect what you can use, napkin, pre-wet a little bit, and just take away if you're interested in this, if you feel that it's too much. And the same pre-wet napkin, just dip it in concentrated pigment and just tap it like that, adding kind of spotty effect. Spots like this. Or maybe if it's not working, add more pigment. So play whatever you can see. And depends what pigment you're using, what type of paints you're using. Because right now I'm using mix of liquid watercolor paint and normal watercolor paint. So that is give me variety of effects. And it depends what you're using. You can see on the same page the gallery of student work. You can see the very different results. Depends what you're using. And right here, you need to lift a little bit to create the chin, because it will be lighted, and under it will be more darker, under the chin. Supposed to be darker. At least we can't create the silhouette. And under eye, we need to add a little bit more dark, if you want. Maybe it's too much dark. Maybe I need to spread it. We're not looking for realistic painting at all. It's very illustrative. You can, when you finish, you can order, print it, and send to all your friends. Happy Easter. Very beautiful, cheerful postcard. You can print it and frame it and place in your room. So try to, using just napkin, just lift a little bit where the nose and chin. To create the silhouette of the face. And under the chin, we need to add very dark color. You can use dark blue, you can use dark violet, you can use dark red. This is up to you, whatever you want. Dark brown, it depends on the color combination which you're using. And on another side, you can use, for example, if you use on one side violet color, on another side you can use dark pink color as an example. It will look very interesting. If you're painting if you're doing with me right now, and if you paint right now spreading too much, it means that your paper is way too wet and you need to let it dry. You need to wait a little bit or use a hair dryer to dry the area where the chin. At this point, you need to look at your painting and see what you would like to adjust with the color. You might add a little bit more dark color, pink color, yellow color, and play a little bit more on top of your whatever you already done. Because the next step after that, we will dry our washes and we will do eyes. While you're adjusting your color, make sure that the chin is still the visible, and you can lift it if it's the paper your paper allow you to lift a little bit more. And if you want, you can add a little bit more darker color under the chin. And now we need to create the silhouette of the nose. Just a few lines. The next step, we're going to do eyes, and we need to make sure the paper is absolutely dry. Using any blue color, cover all area of the eye. I'm using ultramarine. Using flat brush and lifting some pigment on the bottom of the eye. And using calligraphy brush, tiny brush, adding darker pigment. I'm using indigo, a dark blue color, to add more shadow area on the top and in the center of the eye. You can use the same blue color which you use, just more concentrated. Make sure that you're working on a wet surface, so the pigment will be spreading. And make the surface even. If you feel that it's too, when you lift the pigment, it's create too visible border, you need to smudge it. Use clean brush, just smudge it. Lift pigment and smudging, like that. We will create the reflection when the eye will be dry, when the area of the eye will be dry. We will use white gouache. Right on top, we'll create reflection. Maybe add a little bit more darker color on top. So we're still working on wet paper. Make sure the paper is wet. It's kind of damp, not very wet. So pigment absorbing, the paper is absorbing but not spreading very widely. And work until you are happy with results. And work with the second eye. Once you're happy with results of the depth of the eye, you will need to let it dry or use hair dryer before we're going to do next step, creating eyelashes and reflections. Next step, covering area around the eye with light grayish tone. You can use slightly pinkish tone, like pink gray tone will work there very nice. Also, I think I will adjust a little bit the area where the shadow for the nose. I might spread a little bit here to create more shadows. Make it not just so straight lines. I used clean brush, smudge it, and now I infuse more concentrated dots, pigment with pigment to create more depth. And under the chin, I'm using combination of dark blue colors and tiny brush. I didn't pre-wet the paper. I just use calligraphy brush and create that silhouette. And on the left side, I used more water. On the right side, I used more pigment to create that the neck, the chin silhouette. And spray with water to give the illusion of the same style which we have when we use a cocktail straw. Before next step, make sure that area around eyes very dry. Using calligraphy brush, any detail brush, and dark color, I'm going to use dark blue color. Starting not from the right in the corner, right here, like I would say 1/3, and like this direction. Looking at the reference, you can see how beautiful eyelashes on the photo. For sure, we create more decorative style. The same color you can use for whiskers. Try to make them very airy, flowery, not many of them, like maybe 3, 4. The last step, using white gouache or white bleed proof, adding reflection on the eye and highlights. And additional step, just for fun, using any color left on your palette, you can have a few splashes. Make sure that your clothing and your table protected. Just splash whatever you have on your palette and don't be afraid. Have fun! Sometime on this point, you might need to step back and see. For me, a little bit I'm missing darkness under the chin. I would prefer to add a little bit more dark spot right here, so I'm doing it on the dry paper and add using indigo color, dark blue color, just making like this brush strokes and using napkin to spread it, make that even spreading. So that's it. For me, that is finished. So I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial and happy Easter! Have fun with all your family. Don't forget to upload your final work to the window under this video, and I hope you enjoy it. Look forward to see you next time. Thank you.